Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Today we are here with the next episode of F1 Championship Edition. This is round number 3 here in Australia, and an alright qualifying here. 16th place in the grid is pretty decent. I thought we saw Jenson Button on pole position there, which is good to see for him as well. So the lights coming on here in Australia, and the lights are out, and away we go here in Australia for the third round of the season. A pretty decent start, already ahead of clear. Now I'll try and get past Rosberg. We've done that now. Webber, Coulthard are the two cars in front now, so we're going to look down the inside into turn 1 where we were, but we're not going to risk it that much. Now we're just going to stay in 14th place here and maybe overtake into the next turn here. Defending on the inside here as Rosberg is right up behind us. He's looking for a move around the outside into the braking zone. Very, very late on the brakes, and a slight contact there with Coulthard, I think, which means we've now got a little bit of front end damage on the car. It doesn't make too much of a difference unless the front wing falls off. I think we're alright here. There might be a bit of downforce loss, but overall, pretty decent start there. Up to 12th place from 16th on the grid. Obviously, without that little accident with Coulthard, we might have actually got up further, but you know, it's ifs and buts on the first lap of every race because you could maybe get more position somewhere, but at the end of the day, we got through it without having too much damage there. And now Ralf Schumacher puts a move down the inside, but we push our way back through there up into 12th place once again. Now, Jarno Trulli and Rosberg are the two cars in front of me, and that if I got past both of them, I'd get into the top 10 once again. And obviously, I had a really good last couple of races. The first 2 rounds of the season have gone really, really well. I got 2 points in each of them, so I've already got more points in this season than any other season I've done so far. So it's already looking a lot brighter this season. The pace looks better, so hopefully I'll be able to go ahead and maybe get a good team towards the end of the season. At least that is the aim. Maybe I don't know, I'm hoping to go at least to like a Toyota or maybe like a Honda. They're the sort of ones I'm thinking of, but in reality I'd love to be going to something like a McLaren or something that I can actually go and race wins at. Or go and win races, I should say. So that's the aim, but you never know what's going to happen in this championship edition. It is so all over the place, these races. Sometimes you can do an amazing race and finish like last, and sometimes you can have a bad race and finish like inside the points. So I've got to always be giving 100% throughout these races, but it's little corner cuts like that which are going to be annoying. And then I think I sort of lock wheels here with Ralf Schumacher, but yeah, these are the most annoying things, and I know a lot of you guys keep commenting that you can turn this off, but I've looked and you can't turn these penalties off, and it's really frustrating. I've talked about it in my 2 seasons I've done beforehand, and you can't turn these penalties off in career mode, and that's just the most frustrating thing about it. And a couple of other comments I've had, like why didn't I just do like a Grand Prix season instead of doing career mode, but I know it might have been the more sensible thing to do, but I want to be, you know, getting like a McLaren drive, whatever, because I did well, not because I just decided to go into McLaren. So hopefully that's the right thing to do. Hopefully I can do well enough in this season to go ahead and maybe get a decent team towards the end of the year. I'm not too sure. I think that might be a Coulthard going very slowly there with a damaged suspension or something. So he's going very slowly around the track. And look how far back the 2 Super Guris are on the mini-map there, guys. I'm not too sure they've already pitted, but I think they've just dropped back a lot here. Look how far behind they are. Really weird to see how far they are behind just the car in front there. But anyway, going on to the next lap, a couple of cars have gone into the pit lanes. They're up into P10 here. Still got Rosberg and Trulli in front of us here, but a slight off-track moment there, meaning we have lost a little bit of time there. So that is it, and I guess we're just going to have to move on and hopefully get that time back through doing some good sector times. But I was thinking when I did that, like, oh no, we're going to get another corner cut for that. I was like, oh, please don't let that happen. But yeah, luckily we didn't get that penalty, because now we can just try and get back that time we lost on Trulli beforehand. And let's see what the gap is through the first sector. Just less than 4.5 seconds, and we're going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. We've still got Ralf Schumacher right up behind us here, and he'll be looking to get a move done, because you know the AI are very, very crazy with their moves sometimes. So they might just dive it up the inside when there is, really isn't actually a place to do that. But that front wing damage probably won't be helping us out too much throughout this race. I'm not too sure whether they change it in the pit stops, I can't remember now, but through that middle sector there we lost ever so slightly, a little bit of time there on Trulli in front, but the pace just doesn't seem to be exactly where it was in the first race of the season in Bahrain, but it seems to be quite similar to Malaysia, so I still think there is a chance of points here if we put together some decent laps together, also with a decent pit stop here. So final couple of turns here, and yeah, I sort of forgot that I needed to pit this lap, so I had to sort of cut across the grass there, so that was a bit frustrating, but luckily we did actually end up in the pits and not running out of fuel, which we did, I think season 1, I can't remember now, but look at that, Ferrari pulls out in front of me here, and there's nearly contact between the Honda and the Ferrari as we pull into the Midland Bay. I keep wanting to say Super Guru for some reason, but I think, I talked about it in the last episode, but I think this might have been one of my best pit stops ever. 8.5 seems to be pretty good. You can see we've sort of pulled in quite a bit of time on Trulli in front of us here. He's definitely not 4.5 seconds in front of us here, so that's closed a lot of time in on Trulli, which is really good. Gives us actually a really good chance now, maybe going for those points which I was talking about a minute or so ago. So 3 laps to go, or just less than 3 laps to go, and we might actually have a solid chance of getting some points here. It doesn't look as easy as it did in Bahrain, but it looks about as likely as it did back in Malaysia, so it's looking a decent chance of some points here today in Australia, and that would be 3 races in a row that we got points if that was to happen. And Webber quite a long distance behind, nearly 5 seconds. You can see that gap to Trulli came down from what, 4.5 seconds down to 1.7, so nearly gained 3 seconds in that pit stop over Trulli, which I've got to say is a really good amount of time to be gaining. If we can do that every single pit stop we do throughout this career mode, we could be on for some very good points throughout the whole season here. I've got to say, guys, though, don't expect me to be in the points every single race, because I mean, it's looking like I'm going to have a good season, which I obviously want to, but then you got to realise I'm in one of the slower cars, so some races I'm not good at all the tracks, so just don't expect me to be in the points every single race. And yeah, at the end of the season it should be a good amount of points, but just don't expect me to be in the points every single race, because I'm not in a Honda or whatever which can be in the points every single race. I'm in a car which should theoretically be in the bottom 5 every single race. So yeah, just don't expect too much, but hopefully the good races will come around. So here we are, back into 12th place once again, as we were before the pit stops, and hunting down Trulli. However, he is putting out a little bit of time on us here. It would have been good to be a little bit closer in the pit stops, and we might have actually been able to jump him, but it's just, again, one of my little mistakes that I ran over the curbs a bit too much, got that 5 or 6 second penalty I think it was, which just put me down the field, which is just frustrating, as I said earlier on. But still, 1.5 laps here. Trulli is not that far in front of us. Points maybe at this stage of the race looking a little bit less likely now, as we are probably about 5 or 6 seconds away from the points. And now Ralf Schumacher, who was actually fighting before the pit stops, now over 4 seconds behind. So he's lost 4 seconds to me throughout that pit stop stage as well. So I've got to say, the pit stops have been very good for me. So hopefully that's going to be a good thing throughout this whole season. The pit stops are where I'm going to be gaining a lot of time. You know, my car's slow, so gaining times in a pit stop would be very good. And then look at that. No, I didn't need to do that. I was closing in on Trulli. I got the gap down to a second there, and then I go and cut a corner and lose all that valuable time that we'd gain throughout the pit stops. And we must be over 5 seconds behind once again now. I mean, it's a 6 second penalty, but technically you don't lose 6 seconds because you're still travelling at some speed. I think it's about 60, 70 miles an hour. So I'd assume the gap's up to about 5 seconds if it was about a second beforehand. My maths isn't quite that good that I can work that out that quickly, but I'm assuming it's about 5 seconds as we cross the start-finish line. No, 3.4 or 3.5 technically, so not as bad as expected there, considering that 6 second slowdown penalty there. But we go on to the last lap of the race here, and we're quite far away from points. I'd say about 7 or 8 seconds in front of us would be points, so unless we have a miracle or some breakdowns on this last lap, I would say we're going to be outside the top 10, which is not what we want, but we've had a good race nonetheless. 12th would still be a great result here for us in the Midland, considering how slow this car actually is. And we pulled the gap to Trulli down by a second in that first sector there. An amazing first sector. Actually might give us a chance. We might actually be able to get past Trulli on this lap if we put in a good second and third sector here. And once again, clipping those corners just perfect there, and we can see the gap coming down to Trulli. So are we actually going to be able to pull this gap back on the last lap of the race and maybe even get into the top 10 if Rosberg has a problem as well? Now through the second sector time, what is it? The 2.4 seconds now, so we only gained a tenth through that middle sector there. So it's going to have to be a retirement, I'd say, on the last couple of corners here for me to get into 11th place here, to get past Trilly. Is that smoke? No, it's not. It's just a cloud. So that was a bit of me just seeing things there. But yeah, so anyway, last couple of corners here, we definitely closed the gap down to Trilly, but it wasn't quite enough on the final lap of the race here. But Jenson Button wins the Australian Grand Prix, which is good for him. And as we come across the start-finish line here, we're going to finish in 12th place, which isn't too bad considering the pace wasn't quite there this weekend. And I've got to say, overall, a good overall weekend for us, I'd say. So there we are, another decent race for us. 4 points in 3 races. I still think we're pretty much on target to get the points that I wanted throughout the whole season. So Button, Massa, Schumacher was your top 3 there, and we didn't even manage to get into the top half of the leaderboard. Only 3 retirements there, and Michael Schumacher still leads the championship, but Button closes in, and we drop down to 9th place in the championship. So yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's been X, and yeah, I'm out of here. Goodbye.